let's go through this. So, recent reports again linking us with Trent Alexander-Arnold. And the reason isn't even a particular link as such. It's the comments coming directly from the player. So Liverpool played a game this weekend against Bournemouth. Obviously they won in the week against Milan, but they were trying to bounce back from a defeat last weekend against Forest, which was completely unforeseen. However, they had a great game, they won 3-0, Trent was instrumental in the win, and after the game he gave an interview. And he was talking about his contract situation. Now this is to be expected because he is in the final year of his deal, and as things stand, in the absence of a contract renewal prior to January, from that point onwards he is free to negotiate with whoever he wants. So it is quite conceivable that he could, in theory, start negotiations with Real Madrid from that point onwards. Now, my view, as I've said before, is that Real Madrid have to be at the table if Trent is a possibility. I do view him as the best in class. And we're going to go over it today. So we're going to analyse his comments, we're going to analyse his performance, and we're going to see how he fits into Real Madrid. Okay, so first and foremost is comments. This is the juicy bit. So, he said a couple of things, nothing out of the ordinary. He's been at Liverpool for 20 years, true. He is Liverpool through and through. The Liverpool fans absolutely love him. No one will forget everything that he's achieved with the club. The other thing he said, trophies are really important to him. He's an elite level player. He wants to be winning silverware. In just his short career so far, and I say that, he's already 25, so he has actually been around quite a while, but 25 is still quite young. He's got a long way left to go in the game, and a lot more time to add to his silverware. But this is a player that's won the Champions League, that's won the Premier League title, and he's hungry. He wants to feel that again. He wants to keep winning. So, is he in the right place to achieve those goals? First and foremost, Liverpool are always at the table. They are an elite club in terms of world football, both historically and in terms of what they're producing in recent times. It wasn't so long ago that they did win the Premier League title and the Champions League, to add to that, and they are generally quite competitive. Last season, for example, they were in the mix to win the Premier League title. They fell off towards the end of the season and they didn't get there in the end, but they're always there or thereabouts. And when you see them play against the top teams in the Premier League, I'm talking Arsenal, I'm talking City, they go toe-to-toe with them. And last season, barring some basketball skills from Ødegaard, it might well have been that Liverpool took 3 points off Arsenal. And it could happen again this season. It is quite conceivable that Liverpool go to the Etihad, that Liverpool go to the Emirates and beat those sides because they have got it in their locker. They have got the players to do so. So he is in with a possibility of winning a Premier League title. As you've seen in Europe, they're completely comfortable. They do belong to sit at that table. Obviously, you can point to how they came up short at the end of last season with the freak result against Atalanta across 2 games. And it is very difficult to go to Bergamo in the second leg, particularly when you've got that much of a disadvantage. But they are able to mix it with the big guns across Europe. There aren't many teams that look forward to playing against their front line. And don't forget, Real Madrid will have to play against them in the very near future. We were drawn against them and we play at Anfield. So I certainly am not taking that game lightly. I think that if we do run the risk of getting ripped to pieces. What I saw on the weekend from Liverpool was outstanding. What they did to Milan was incredible. They've got a very fluid side. That midfield is a sight to behold. It's interesting because they spent the whole summer going after a 6, and it's not what they're doing now. No one could realistically say that Gravenberch is a 6. He's not. Because you've got a midfield that is so fluid that they alternate position. There were times during that game where Szoboszlai was the deepest lying midfielder. He was collecting the ball from the keeper, distributing it to the fullbacks. That's incredible. He was supposed to be the 10. You've got McAllister ahead of him. You've got Gravenberch mopping up balls, taking the ball forward. They've all got it in their locker. So it's a really interesting system. And it's actually something I'd be interested to see us do at Real Madrid, because we have got players that are flexible. Valverde, for example, He seems like he's playing about 15 different positions, to be honest, but he can do. He's got it in his locker. Anyway, back to Trent. So he makes this comment, and the one comment which goes above and beyond what he said, because can he win titles at Liverpool? Probably. Does he have more of a chance at Real Madrid? Possibly. Who knows? Liverpool do still dine at that table. The comment which got everyone is the one where he said, I want to play at Liverpool this season. Obviously, the transfer window is shut, you're not going anywhere, you're under contract, you're playing there anyway. It's the fact that he didn't commit to the side. And if you are Trent Alexander-Arnold, things are a little bit different to your previous contract renewals, which he also spoke about. And I have no doubt that they will be conducted in private, as he also said. However, there is a monumental difference. In the past, his contract renewals came at different stages in his career. They came at a point where he was getting introduced to the first team, where he was starting to get minutes under Jurgen Klopp, where he was starting to see himself become a regular in the side. But now he is arguably the best in class. If you're looking for the best right back in the world, his name comes up in the conversation. It has to. Even if you are the most cynical and believe, okay, fine, defensively he's not the best, there's area for improvement. There's area for improvement with every player. Let's be honest, if we compare him to the likes of Hakimi, you could make the same argument of Hakimi. If you want to talk about Reece James, you could point to his injury record. There's always something there, always something. So that doesn't detract from the fact that he's an outstanding footballer. Now, we have to be wary because obviously this could just be a ploy. It could be a way of getting Liverpool to put their hand in their pocket, give him more money to get rid of the likes of Real Madrid. Who knows? I'm just going to take this opportunity to just say that if you do enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help the channel to grow. Anyway, we can't read too much into this comment, but it's true that he is perhaps considering his future. You've got other external factors, like you've got the story where Jude Bellingham is very close friends with Trent, and the word is that he's always in his ear trying to convince him to come to the Bernabeu. It's possible, but in much the same way that I have no doubt that Mbappe is saying similar things to Achraf Hakimi. They're best friends, of course they want to play together, and it's not going to happen at Paris, so why not Real Madrid? It's one of those. If we analyse his performance, first of all, if you haven't seen the game, I'd urge you to look at it, even if it's just highlights. And there's one that I'm going to point to in particular. Trent was outstanding all game. I thought he was very good defensively, and I thought going forward he was an absolute monster. If you haven't seen him play, his dead ball prowess is second to none. He really gives you something in that regard. But it was Luis Diaz's goal which was the killer for me. Now, one of the things that Liverpool love to do is the big long rake, and Konate is capable of doing it, Van Dijk is capable of doing it, and I've said I would love for Real Madrid to have a player who's capable of doing this from the back, because we currently don't, and it's such a weapon, because people think of it a little bit like caveman football, route one, taking it all the way from the back to the front. Now you should try to build up the play. Why? There is no need. Liverpool recognise that they've got absolute pace up front, and they fancy their forwards against the opposition. That's why they try and isolate Luis Diaz with the fullback. Or on the other side, you saw Darwin Núñez for his goal. And they're always looking to get in behind. Konate played the ball over to Luis Diaz, and obviously he converted really, really well. But the one I'm talking about is the one where Trent picks up the ball in midfield and he drives forward, carries it. He's confident. He doesn't mind having possession of the ball. But at that point, there are so many things that can go wrong. He looks ahead of him and he sees Salah, who's going off to the right. He sees Darwin Núñez, who's dragging a defender, and he sees Diaz. And in your mind's eye, you're thinking, okay, who's got the best opportunity to score? Diaz. Okay? But he's still got a lot to do. He's still got to get the ball over to him. He's got to make sure he gets the right weight on the pass so that Diaz can take control and finish. And he's got to make sure that no one intercepts it in between. So he's made up his mind. He knows which way he's going. He plays the pass, plays the ball perfectly. Diaz takes it and scores. Diaz obviously has a lot to do still in that position, but he doesn't even get the opportunity if Trent doesn't play that. The fact that Trent is that confident playing that ball, dragging his team up the pitch and creating those goal-scoring opportunities is something that we currently don't have at Real Madrid. And you might think, well, we don't need it. I would argue that we improve by having players who are capable of doing that. And the reason that I talked about the rake before, from Konate, from Van Dijk, is the fact that Trent is also a fan of that. There are numerous times where Trent gets the ball, gets his head up, sees the run, oh, there's Luis Diaz, set him off on his way. The exact same can be said of England. When you watch England play, in the most recent game, the manager decided to put Anthony Gordon onto the left-hand side, which is something that as England fans we've been absolutely crying out for. A little bit of pace, someone in the right position who doesn't narrow the side. And Trent was not afraid to get his head up and play the ball straight over. We haven't got that player. The player who used to do that for us was Toni Kroos, the player who was not afraid to release the forwards. We sorely need someone to unlock Mbappe, Vinicius, even Rodrigo. Rodrigo's got pace on the other side. If you've got a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold, he opens that possibility. Get yourself in another centre-back if you want, someone who can do similar things. But having someone like that changes the game. Because as good as Carvajal is, and he is, I really rate him. I think he is number one right now. I think after the season he's had, I think few would argue with that. But as we've said before, he is not eternal, which means that we have to look at the next generation of player. And if we're looking at that, then we might as well consider all of the best options because they're all becoming available. It's really weird. You've got Trent who's available at this season, at the end of this season. You've got Hakimi who's available at the end of the following season, but in the final year of his contract. So you have really got the ability to send your scouts over, have a look at both of them, and really have your pick. Now we've discussed that it's possible that they end up bringing both names in, but in my eyes there is no way on earth that Real Madrid can afford to miss out on Trent Alexander-Arnold. He is the player who is born to play for this side. He is a player that will unlock the likes of Mbappe and Vinicius. Players like that love the opportunity to run at the fullback, run at the centre-back. Play me the ball quickly. I don't want to have to work in tight spaces. I want the ball early because they've got that pace to frighten defenders, and he allows you to do that. So, takeaways from this video. It sounds like there is at least the possibility that he is considering his future, which is a really big positive. And my personal perspective is that if that is the case, we have to be at the table to negotiate for him. We cannot afford to miss out on him. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Take care.